to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. So let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. Doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can carve out a pretty amazing life for yourself in sales. Today's guest, no stranger to that journey. I need you guys to welcome Mr. Jonathan Kvarfordt. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, my man, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to be here with you. And I want to jump right in, man. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
Oh my gosh, you asked me this before. I'm still racking my brain, but the ones I have more recently is that we're in the AI space right now, selling AI tech, and so the weirdest one I had is my team brings me on to first sales calls to have some chats with some more advanced AI people, so to speak, on different calls. And so one guy, literally this last couple of weeks ago, came on and he was like saying, "Hey, we need to make sure the AI tech we get does these 50 different things." Literally is like basically saying like I needed to take care of coaching for my reps, I needed to do this, I needed to move the process, I needed to make sure it sells those revenue. Pretty much describing the most perfect AI tech ever that would eliminate every person ever. And I had to very kindly let him know like that's not how it works, sir. Sorry. We're not to the point where we're ready for that kind of thing. And so anyways, it's just I'm sure everyone on the line knows like how it feels to have someone ask for all these things. You're like, how am I supposed to tell this person this is not a real thing? So basically tell them what's on the roadmap and go from there. How about that?
And I think this is a fun conversation because AI is there's a lot of hype around it. It's very buzzworthy.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, especially in the sales community, where a lot of people have made this decision that they're just going to start firing off their team and just replacing everybody with these AI bots or LLMs or whatever
Whatever.
terminology you want to
Mhm.
use. And I'm interested in this because my business is called the Damn Leads. So like I'm still a firm believer that you got to pick up the phone and build genuine relationships.
Yeah.
But when you're running into these folks, like what is the most common thing that you're seeing that's working, and then maybe what's really not working?
Right now, I think because everyone's really getting used to how AI works in general, like both the customers and salespeople, we're still getting an idea of like how we like to interact with AI or not. So a lot of it is the basic fundamentals. Like we're talking like for I work for a team called Momentum, and we do the basic CRM data automation for sales reps, which is not that complex of a deal. I mean, it becomes more complex as you get into it, but to me, that's like a level one use case that's insanely powerful because then people as a salesperson don't have to spend their time doing data entry or the menial tasks they have to do day to day. And it makes a huge difference because instead of using 30% of your time selling, you're now up to 60, 70% of your time selling, which is a huge lift. So I think there's things like that where it's more practical, everyday type use cases that make the biggest difference. And where people get caught up is when they're trying to think, kind of like my story, these huge, crazy reinventions of what things could be like when they don't even understand the basics and the fundamentals aren't even in place. So it's like you really have to understand what are the core use cases that are practical, everyday stuff. Doing like there's three levels. There's productivity time savings. The next one is like amplifying what works, making sure the human can be really amplified the best way possible. Then it's reinvention, but you can't skip right to reinvention until you have the fundamentals in place.
I love that. And for me, what I've personally run into is that any AI call conversation that I've kind of participated in, because I like to test them, right? I want to be
Yeah,
on the forefront of technology. I want to know what's working, what's not.
good.
There's always a tell, right? There's either a delay or the way that they re-ask questions or
Yeah,
just that weird pronunciation of different things.
yeah,
And what I found so interesting is there's so many people online right now that are like the gurus, if you will, selling their super secret proprietary technology
whatever.
on like, hey, we'll replace your sales team. And the only industry that I've seen this working in is the home services. And I
Hmm.
say that simply because home service businesses were already terrible about answering their phones as it was. So, like, the
Right.
fact that anyone will pick up the phone, it helps. But, like, what are you seeing? Are you seeing that there are some industries where, like, the AI voice is working, or is it more kind of like still the foundational, like, hey, let's just get the time saving tasks in place?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I work in with a couple of companies in retail, in real estate, in healthcare, and a bunch of other places, and obviously in SaaS. So I'm seeing it from a lot of different points of view. Real estate actually is a really cool use case. I'm seeing a lot of good AI tech being used for real estate, both for like when someone opts in for some sort of lead magnet and then the AI agent goes out and has a conversation with them vocally and actually books meetings for them is really helpful. Because like as a real estate agent, you may not have the time or even a team to do the calling for you. So you have to be able to amplify yourself. So that use case is really awesome. I'm seeing that same thing in other industries. As a note, it's technically illegal to have AI bots call someone proactively without them opting in the United States. So like you can't just
Amen.
blast people with AI. They have to opt in. But once they opt in, you have full permission to call them if you have their information. So those use cases I think are really powerful. In my opinion, just a bit based on where we're at, there's some really, really good AI voice agents out there that sound really natural. I still think though that it needs to be either upfront with people about it, like just saying, "Hey, this is your AI pal Bob calling you about this thing." I don't think people like feeling like they're being persnickered or or like lied to. Like as long as you're upfront saying, "Hey, this is your AI agent reaching out to you," blah blah blah, and most people don't care. Like they don't mind that as long as they kind of know what's going on. Um, and then having giving the user the ability to have their pick your own journey type of experience of saying, do you want to continue with me or do you want to talk with a human? And then be able to have an automation to where you can set up a calendar invite or something to where you can actually talk to somebody, you know? And I bring it up because, like, for example, Klarna 6 months ago replaced most of their CS team with some sort of AI agent, and then they touted for the next month how much money they saved and all this other stuff. And then fast forward 6 months later, they overcorrected, and all of their customers were basically saying, "I don't like talking to an AI agent. Like this is not fun. I'm leaving," because they didn't like it. And so now, a month ago, Klarna started hiring back the same positions they let go of because the customers are like, "I don't like this." So I think you have to be careful around the customer experience we wanted to deliver, make sure you're upfront with people about what's happening or not, and then make sure you can support it otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's great. And there's two things I want to pull out of there. First and foremost is the legal side.
Yep.
There are so many people out there that are using these tools in the most illegal of fashions,
Yes.
right? They're not getting
Yes.
proper opt ins. They're not actually announcing that they're using these AI tools. And so if you're listening to this, be very, very careful because the fines for this stuff are not cheap. And it's
Yeah.
every single call that you make using it that is not actually following compliance that you will get. I'm a believer that they're going to start cracking down on these folks here really soon, and it's going to
Yeah.
be a massive payday for all these agencies that run that stuff, and it's going
Yep.
to absolutely decimate a lot of businesses. But I think the other side of that too, the customer experience. There's so
Hmm.
much to be said about that, right? Where how many of us get annoyed when we call and it's like the tap one for this, tap two for that. We're smashing that zero button trying to talk
Right.
to an actual operator.
Right.
Like seeing that customer experience is really important. And to me, again,
Yes.
my whole business model is around people actually calling the damn leads. So I really I appreciate you sharing the fact of that story of like, listen, here's someone that's a big company that implemented this and immediately had to go back and hire all these people that they let go of. And my guess is they probably had to pay them more to come back because they'd gone and found other positions or
Right.
opportunity.
Right.
So like from your stand, where are you guys really leaning in with your client base of like, hey, here's the things we should install right away, and then how do you kind of peel out from there of like what the next steps look like?
Yeah, with momentum, we don't do anything as far as the proactive call lead stuff. We more momentum works with teams that actually have conversations. So there's two sides, which is where it gets fascinating. Is that there's tech out there now? Like I use one called Peel, where you can have this like deck put out in like a sales deck, and an AI agent will like zip through the slides and answer questions as you go. But you know it's an AI going into it, right? And the AI's job is to have this conversation, like kind of like a discovery, and then it loads like this package. So as soon as someone says yes, I want to have a meeting, it creates this package of what they said to the salesperson. So the salesperson has this rich information around whatever they talked about in the conversation. They can take the next step.
Okay.
So that's what we've done there. Like, and then obviously Momentum does more in the conversation of analysis, that kind of thing. Um, there's been what's interesting is like when you think about how many people are applying AI and you think about the results of it. I don't think people understand like how much people want to talk to people. And so, like I said before, it's having that connection of being able to say, okay, do you want to be able to talk to an AI? Do you not? Um, the oh shoot, what was going to say with that? I'm glad we can edit this out. Sorry, I'll just stop there.
No, that's okay. And I think the fun thing about that is really, this is what's exciting about this time, right? Because AI is still new. It's kind of in its like hormonal teenage years where sometimes it works really, really well. Sometimes it just goes
Yeah,
absolutely off the rails. I have a client that she's in the space of like more personalization AI, and she's got all these people that have created like duplicates of their process, and she's like, well,
Right.
I don't want to have to file a bunch of cease and desist and lawsuits, but like the things that are coming out of these agents are wrong, blatantly wrong.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I love exploring into this topic simply because you don't know what you don't know yet. And then once you know,
Yeah.
though, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do with that information. And so, what I'd be curious is like, when you're chatting with these business owners and you're trying to get them into the idea of adopting this new technology,
Mhm.
what has that been like? Are you seeing a lot of people that want to jump on it, or are they still kind of in that like, I don't trust it?
Yeah, trust is the biggest thing, honestly. It depends on the size of company in the industry, because like healthcare specifically, anything legal, there's a lot of places where they, because of laws like HIPAA and all this other stuff, to be really careful with, obviously. So it just depends on each team. We did this fascinating report with Momentum, where we've had over 1,000 sales calls with orgs from 50 people to 10,000 plus. So we have a great variety of sizes, 150 plus different industries, everyone from like a director, VP, and above. So we get a good understanding of what they're talking about, and they're all talking to us about AI. So we did this analysis looking at all the different things they're talking about. And like McKinsey or someone said that 78, 80% of companies have done some sort of use case in AI. But our data, just from the conversations with these people, are showing it's more like 7% actually have something operational. So it's like, and it's more like my gut is telling me that people have like Copilot or ChatGPT, and that's what they're considering an AI use case. But no one knows how the heck to talk to those things. So it's like they have those tools and resources, but then nothing functional is actually being done that actually helps people get more work done. It's just like, oh, you have a chatbot you can use to make whatever content you want to make, but it's not necessarily a transformational experience, which is fascinating. So it's it's interesting to see where people are at, but trust is the number one thing that people have an issue with, and not just trust of the data, but trust of like the experience or what's going to happen on the customer side. Like saying, can I release this experience to an AI? Like using the example I said earlier about a person talking to my deck with an AI. When my salesperson saw it, he's like, I love this. However, I don't have control I want to have. Like this AI agent could go off the rails and say this stuff, and I have no control over that conversation. Whereas inside of a conversation with a person live, you can I wouldn't say control, guide maybe the conversation, so you can kind of keep things off the rails. So, and the AI, you'll just go down these paths that you don't know where it's going to go. So there's a lot of trust factors that you got to be aware of and know, like, do I want that experience for the customer, and is that going to get them to where they want to go? So, and with that, I'm going to add one more thing, and I'll shut up. This is where I think it's going to be really important for people to understand is that the more the AI can mimic my voice, my video, my writing, my all the things that they can do with AI, the more important that um, the in person, whether it's live, remote stuff like this, or in person conversations, is going to be more important than ever, because people are going to be wanting in person relationships, and that the skills you'll have. Like for example, if you have a 5-stage sales process and 2 of the stages come up with AI, because you can do that with AI now, the last 3 are with you. That means your skill set is narrow, which means that the human side you have to be good at has to be really freaking good, because everyone's going to have to narrow the skill set and be really good at those skills, like negotiation. So it's just really important to know that this is coming, but where you get really good is the actual human emotional connection relationship, rapport building, body language stuff, like all the things that makes us human. You have to double down on, because that's what's going to make people want to talk to you, is your human side.
Yeah, I really love that aspect of it because again, I'm a firm believer that AI is coming. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
Like it is going to be taking over certain aspects of the process.
Yep.
But also in agreement with you that okay, cool, sure you can delegate some of the time saving stuff, right? Maybe the discovery call, maybe some of the data management. But I mean, people
Mhm.
have been doing that with chatbots that were just plug and play, right? Just pick your own
Right.
adventure for years now.
Right.
And so I really appreciate the idea of like, okay, the better those parts get, right? The easier it is for them to go through that. The more you have to increase your own skill set because now you've got something that's essentially mimicking you. And if you show up on that call and you sound like a dork when the AI has been like just on point, it knows all the things, like you're gonna have a distrust factor, right? They're gonna go, I thought I was
Totally.
talking to a professional. Here's this guy that like, what the heck is this? It's almost
Yeah,
like the real estate agents that have that glamour shot from the 80s, and then you show up and their
right.
hair's all crazy. They don't look anything like themselves, and you're just going, I
Exactly
thought
right.
I was working with a professional. What the
Like,
heck
who
is
am I
going
talking
on
to
here?
here? Yeah. Well, it's even like it's the same experience now. Like without AI, what drives me crazy is when I have an SDR. Like I go through the motion, I do a book a demo on a website. I have an SDR call me. They ask me 20 questions. I go to the next call. They ask me the same 20 questions. I'm like, you guys, you got to be
Yeah.
freaking kidding me! Like for Pete's sakes, like there's some things in the sales process that I can't stand that I think AI should be doing. So if a person can't understand what the journey is like for a customer and be able to consume the information to have the next intelligent best step and actually make my experience with them better, because that's the other side of it is me as a buyer, I don't want to waste my freaking time. Like I'm smarter as a buyer now because I have access to things I didn't have before, and I want to make sure
Mm.
that the salesperson realizes that and adjusts to that and works with me to become someone that I can rely on that knows things differently and better than AI does. Does that make sense? Because that's what I want from a person is like saying, tell me what you're seeing every day that AI doesn't see. Like AI is horrible with messes. It doesn't do well with it. Like it can structure unstructured data, but with messy process, it does not do very well. And humans are really good at being resilient and going through a very messy process, which most sales processes are, right? So it's like, how do you make sure that you can be that person that can understand the journey of what it's like and how and when they get to you, you can deliver value and not be reliant so much on AI to do all the job for you, so that you're not just saying, "Hey, give me the money." It's like provide value. If you're wanting to kill in sales and actually do something worthwhile that can actually deliver a lot of value both in your pocket and theirs, you got to be better at that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I'm going to kind of shift the gears a little bit here
Please.
because you're seeing a lot of people that are leveraging the AI for content creation.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see these guys that you're like, they are not super bright based on previous experience, and all of a sudden their Facebook posts are like novels, their emails,
Right.
and
Right.
the M dash. This is like the most funny thing right now. You're seeing a lot of
I
people
know.
talking about the EM dash in all the content where it's clearly like, yeah, ChatGPT wrote that for you.
Right.
And while that's an actual grammatical thing that exists and it is out there,
Right.
99.9% of the world doesn't actually use it, nor would they know how to leverage it in a proper conversation.
Right.
And so what I find so interesting there is especially the fact that from a legal standpoint, a lot of people are just creating this stuff and just hitting send without actually, they're not making sure they're not plagiarizing people. They're
Yep.
not making sure that it's not stealing. I was like reading one of the blogs on your website about like the Studio Ghibli stuff where everybody went crazy, using all these image creators of themselves. And I think there's a
Yes.
real conversation around that because if you're
Yes.
stealing content or copyrighted material from someone and using it as your own and you're not paying any attention because you're just whipping it off a chat gpt, like you're putting yourself in danger.
Yeah, there's so legally the Copyright Office of the United States government came out a month and a half ago with some copyright law, and basically said that if you put in a prompt, there's two sides of this. If you put in a basic prompt, like saying, "Hey, write me an article on LinkedIn," and whatever the thing is, and that's all you said, and it would make you an article. That output you cannot trademark IP or claim as yours. Like you can use it, and like you'll take the risk of everyone knowing you use AI, and no one can really technically do anything because it's just like ChatGPT garbage coming out to you from a basic prompt, right? Um, if I took that output and I start to adjust it, then it becomes AI assisted, and I can then claim trademark or IP. So that's one side of it. Second side of it is that there's still a gray area with this, but like as an example, if I have a proprietary coaching model, which I do for sales, and I use that proprietary coaching model inside of a prompt, and that then produces for me an output, that also can be IPified because it never would have gotten there without my IP in the first place. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I think the AI can be an amazing amplifier of someone's own genius of whatever thing you can specialize in that you know a lot of. Like AI is an amazing tool to make sure you can get out there more or to amplify what you already know. But when it's just replacing your thought process in the first place, I think that's such a disservice to people. And I think a lot of people use it that way. And sadly, people are getting smarter at it. I shouldn't say sadly, fortunately. But the sad part is that you're catching things like the M dashes and like the weird words that AI talks about. Like I can, you can probably see it too. You can see it a mile away from LinkedIn posts or from Facebook or TikTok. You're like, that was obviously AI. It's fine, but it's like take 2 seconds and like read your freaking output and then do it. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. The more the AI agents can like do the entire process from like for now, I have a couple workflows. So you can put in a Slack saying, "Hey, make me a LinkedIn post and video on this thing." It'll go into Hey Gen, make an audio or video image of me talking on LinkedIn, make the post. Everything's done, so I don't have a chance to edit. So it could very easily have M dashes, and people go, "Okay, Coach is just doing some weird, crazy AI stuff," which is fine. It's just I just think that it erodes I just think it erodes trust unless I'm upfront about it. So
Well, and I think it, for you, it fits in with your brand and your business, and people understand, like, hey, he's an
right,
AI guy. This is like part of what he
this is what he
does.
does. Yeah,
But it's those guys that just open it up, they talk to it like a robot, they get a very robotic response, they just
yeah,
post out whatever it shoots out,
yeah,
and then they wonder why nobody engages. They wonder why it's not getting the effectiveness that they're seeing from someone like you who's has
yeah,
an expertise. You have a process. The prompts that you're creating are very detailed. They come with your own genius that's spilled out in there. And that's what I really, I mean, you can see the gap widening, right? Because like more and more people are adopting this technology, and it will continue to
right,
happen.
right,
But where you're really seeing the people shine is like a million people can pick up and play the guitar, but there's only one Jimi Hendrix, right? There's only one
right.
person that has
Mm-hmm.
that level of skill set, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the future because you're going to start to see those people who they've learned to use the technology and they've still put their own personal like expertise and experience and like their level of knowledge of that specific industry or niche,
Right.
and those are the ones that are going to continue to really scale out on a huge level. And so while
Yeah.
I know we could probably nerd out on this all day, what I want to be respectful of your time. What's the best way for us to come find you, follow you, check out more of your content, AI or not? Like I'll believe that it's okay because I know this is your space.
Right.
But how do we come check out more of your stuff, man?
Everything gets dumped on my LinkedIn, so that's the best place to go. Or you go to gtmaiacademy.com. That's my own personal way I teach people how to use AI every day for go-to-market professionals. And then my team I work for is momentum.io.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us, man. This has been a fun, fascinating conversation. I know I've learned a couple of things. I know the audience has, and definitely looking forward to following your adventures and your journeys in the space because this is happening, y'all. AI is here.
Yeah.
It's how you leverage it and how you use it to better yourself that's going to take you to the next level.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the episode, share it out on social media, put it out on LinkedIn, share, make sure you tag Coach. Make sure you're sending it to somebody you know who sucks at sales, sucks at using AI. Like, give them a little bit of love, help them get better in the world. And remember, if you have an awesome sales story and you want to come on and you share, want to share that story, you want to help the world see how to be better in this position, in this, career, head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your details. We'd love to have you on the show. We're having all sorts of awesome conversations, just like we did today with Mr. Jonathan. And we'll see you guys on the next one. You know what to do now. Go call those damn leads.